so let's talk Medicaid, because that is the thing that's really top of mind. 1 in 5 Iowans are on Medicaid right now, including half of all the people in Iowa's nursing homes. We know that this big, beautiful bill would cut about $1 trillion from social safety net programs over the next 10 years, and that nearly 9 million people would lose their Medicaid coverage, according to the Congressional Budget Office. So why shouldn't Iowans be worried that they might be one of those 9 million people losing Medicaid next year?
Because we want to make sure these programs are around for people who need them. And so when I look at the Iowans who are using Medicaid benefits, they are the seniors who are very, very poor. They are young children who are poor, single mothers. I had several of the people who were disabled come out to my town hall and ask me specifically, am I going to be okay? And we were explicit in the language we used in the bill. If you're medically infirm or frail, you're going to be fine. If you are a caretaker for someone who is medically infirm or disabled, you're going to be fine. I think the key issue we're trying to strike here is balancing out most Americans' perspective, because they're working very hard right now. They just sent their tax checks into the federal government. You know, they think if you can work, you should. And especially if you're taking a government benefit, we should make sure that you have, if you're able-bodied and you're not caring for someone who's like a school-age child or someone who's disabled, then you should be working. If
There
you're
are some estimates, though, that it's only like 3% of people who get Medicaid are able-bodied. I mean, is that really? That's not 9 million people.
Yeah. I think the number's actually wrong there. I mean, in terms of the estimates, and that's where I think we'll actually
more people are able-bodied?
I think more people are able-bodied and not working, and that's really what we want to zero in on that, right? And when we look at these reforms and what we've done, it's designed to get the 29-year-old guy who's on his mom's couch, maybe playing video games instead of trying to get a job, lining up outside of a store to buy Pokemon cards. That's what we're hearing is happening. They should be working.
I guarantee you that guy wasn't at your town hall, though. The people who are scared at your town hall are the single mothers, are the people with young children, are the people with parents in nursing homes, and that's how they get their medical care. You're saying right now they're not going to lose their Medicaid. Right.
Again, we want to get the 1.4 million illegal immigrants off. We want to find the efficiencies in some states that have dual enrollment, right? We've got people who might be enrolled in Iowa and Wisconsin. We shouldn't be doubling down on that enrollment, because that just costs states more money, right? So those are the things we are ultimately trying to fix, while at the same time making sure that we're not paying for people's transgender surgeries on Medicaid, right? Those are things where, when you look at the score of what taxpayer dollars should go to, they should go to that disabled woman like Nicole, who was at my town hall, and we'll make sure that they continue.
Very quickly, how did Senator Ernst handle this? You know, we were just talking. You have a staff. I mean, somebody looks at your post before you put them on Instagram. Did somebody look at that post before because she almost got in more trouble with I don't know if it was an apology or an explanation, whatever. The cover-up is always worse than the crime, as they say, it feels like.
And like I said, she did press right after her town hall on Friday, and I haven't had a chance to talk with Senator Ernst, but I can tell you that, again, I think that everybody's frustrated, and I went out and did these town halls because I want to push back. I want to make sure we're fighting for the agenda that I was sent there to execute on. And it's a real disservice. Again, the misinformation and the fear-mongering that's out there, it gets everybody riled up unnecessarily. I'm sure she felt that frustration. I felt it too, but that's why I will continue to get out in my district and do these town halls and make sure we're advancing good policy and working with the Senate to get that
Because
done.
I've got you here and because you represent a farm state, I want to ask you about our exclusive reporting that we broke late last week about these farmers. A whistleblower told us that loan relief was going to farmers, but for some reason, white farmers were deliberately excluded from that. What was your reaction when you heard that?
Yeah. Well, first of all, imagine if it was the other way, the reaction that would be happening.
It would be massive.
Yeah, it would be terrible. And it is terrible, right? I think my reaction is that we need to get these woke DEI policies that are so divisive and destructive for our country out of the USDA. The USDA's core mission is to provide services to farmers and ranchers and the hardworking people who are feeding and fueling the world. And so I'm supportive of what Secretary Rollins is doing to get those DEI policies eliminated. But we need to get to the bottom of this. And I appreciate your reporting on this, because it's uncovered what I think is really what people perceive as being wrong for government, that people were being intentionally coached and told, here's how you can get this special advantage and get loan forgiveness. Completely unfair. And again, you know, Iowa farmers, they just want to do their job. They want to grow things and make things in Iowa. And I think it's atrocious that this kind of behavior was happening under the Biden administration.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.